Hi. Today we're going to review the Publications screen in Digital Measures. So let's click on the Publications hot link to open up that submenu. Publication projects should be entered by the lead PNWU person involved in the publication. This may or may not be the author. It is best, if there are multiple PNWU people involved in the publication project, to discuss who will be responsible for entering and tracking the project data in Digital Measures with the entire group of members. Once the lead person enters the publication information and all the project participants, all of those PNWU staff and or faculty listed will be able to view the publication project details in their own publication screen within Digital Measures. They will not, however, have the ability to change the information in the publications project. That can only be done by the person that originally entered the project into Digital Measures. If you see a discrepancy in the publication data, contact the lead person for the publication to have it corrected. Digital Measures will automatically put your publication entries into sending date order for you. The records you create in this screen are used to populate your resume, CV, and faculty evaluation reports. There are two different ways that you can add publications into Digital Measures. You can either add them manually by clicking Add a New Item, which will open up a blank screen. It will have many different fields, and it's really based on what type of publication that you're working on that will depend on which of those fields that you should be entering. There's also the ability to import. If you have a BibTeX file saved on your computer with the citation information in it for your publication, you can actually import that information into Digital Measures, and it will create an activity record for you. Additionally, if you have published your publication in PubMed, you can import that information directly from PubMed into Digital Measures as well. Let's start by trying to do an import. So I'm going to click Import Items, and that's going to open up this next screen. There's a good chance that citations of your publications are already stored in another software system such as a reference manager or a database. Instead of rekeying those citations into this system, you can simply import them using two options. A, import a file that you exported from another system. You can export records from other software systems into a BibTeX file and then import that file into this system. For details about exporting citations from several common software systems into BibTeX file, please see this link. You can click on that link and it will give you more details about how to go about creating a BibTeX file from other software systems that may house your publication information. The second option, B, is to connect to another system from here. And in this case, the only system we're able to connect to at this point is PubMed. So it's already selected for us, and then we have it automatically defaults to the search criteria of author, and it puts in my last name and first initial as a search criteria. I can add additional search criteria if I want to also perhaps search by journal, for instance. I could do that and then type in the name of a journal. I can hit this plus symbol here to add additional search parameters to limit the search within PubMed. This is especially important if you've published a lot of items in PubMed. You may want, or maybe you have a very common last name and you know that if you search solely on your last name, you're going to get thousands of entries that you have to look through. So sometimes it's just very nice to be able to change or to add additional search parameters to limit the number of publications that come up for you. You also can change just using this drop down, if you know, like for instance, the date of your publication, that might also help to limit your search. You can also click the minus sign to remove any of these parameters that you decide is inappropriate. So additionally, sometimes people publish with different last names. Perhaps it's a maiden name or a previous married name or something. You can actually highlight this name and delete it and then change that author name to be whatever it is that you need it to be. But I'm going to go ahead and change it back to what it was, and then I'm going to hit continue so that I can show you what this does. It'll take a couple seconds for it to pull up the publications that show under my name. Now, I don't have anything actually published under PubMed, so these are other people's publications. But you can see that there are several different things that have shown up here just based off of that last name. I mean, really an awful lot. So in order to import any of these entries in, then you need to click the checkbox next to whatever entries there are there that are yours and that you want to import into digital measures. And then you just click those boxes and you would click continue. I'm just going to import one to show you what it looks like. Even though I know this isn't my publication, I'm going to import it so I can show you the different screens that pop up so that you'll know how to handle that when it happens. And then once we're done, I will delete it, and that way you'll also know how to delete anything that you might have mistakenly imported. So I'm going to leave that checkbox on there, and then I'm going to click the continue button. And what it does is it's basically just double checking. It wants to make sure that the other authors listed should be imported in. And basically what it does is it looks through all those author names and it checks to see if there's a digital measures account associated with that name. And there isn't in this case, but if there were, then it would actually it would find those people's last name from that drop down if it could. And sometimes the names might be very similar to someone that's in that drop down list, the PNWU list of people. So in that case, it might actually ask you, is this actually a PNWU person? And so you'll have to answer that question. In this case, none of these people matched any of our PNWU people, so it's telling us, please ensure that all this looks good, and then click continue. So I'm going to do that. And now it's going to bring up a screen that just shows exactly what I'm about to import. So all of the data and which fields that data is going to go into. So you can scroll through that record and just take a look at that, and then go ahead and just click the import button, and it's going to give you one last prompt just asking, confirming that you want to proceed. Click OK, and now it's entered that activity into my publication screen. So if I click on the edit, I can take a look at that publication activity that just got imported for me. So as you can see, it fills out all of the publication fields and added these people that are not PNWU people in as outside authors. And one thing that you want to pay attention to, though, is there may be a couple of fields additionally that you're going to need to fill out that are not part of a standard publication. For instance, field of study is actually a PNWU field. It's a field that we use to help us track our COM program goals and objectives, where we're trying to keep track of any publications and research that might be related to or be in the field of biomedical science, clinical medicine, OMM, or public health. And so you would just need to choose whichever of these is appropriate, or type in not applicable, or if you feel you'd like to list what this field of study is, then you're welcome to do that as well. I'm going to type in non-applicable. Well, the reason that I have to go ahead and fill this out is because if I don't, then it's not going to let me save it again. So I have to make sure that I fill that out so that I can save this entry. And it automatically put the published date in there for me, so I don't have to fill in any of the other date fields, but you can, if you want to, go ahead and put in, the date that you submitted, the date you accepted, those kinds of things. One thing though, the red asterisk is on the project start date because that is a required. So we want to know, when did you actually start this project? And it might be that maybe you started this project a couple of years ago. You don't need to know the exact date, but if you can just kind of estimate the month and the year, that would be great. So I'm going to put in 2012 and click Save and Return. And now it's going to allow me to save that entry. And then obviously this is not my publication, so I just use it as an example for you. And I'm going to go ahead and check that box right there and then click the delete button to delete that entry from the submenu. And now that's gone. Now additionally, you can also just add publications using the add a new item button. And in this case, at least you need to fill out the required fields. So the fields with the red asterisk. So contribution type, is this a journal article, a book, a newspaper, software, study guide? Choose that contribution type, the current status, perhaps you're just in preparation. You can always put in that temporary title. If you don't know yet what the official title will be, just put in, whatever you think is a temporary title for now. And then once you have that solidified, go ahead and change it. Really, this is just kind of a way for you to keep track of your project and where you are, and for the other people involved in your project to all be on the same page with the status. Field of study, you're going to want to choose that field of study, or not applicable if it doesn't apply to any of those fields. And then here you're going to list any additional authors besides yourself, which is automatically going to be listed. So I'm listed as an author, and no, I'm not a student, so I need to answer that question. Let's pretend like I have 2 more authors that I want to add here. One of them is a PNWU faculty member, so I have a test faculty member in here, which I'm going to add. And then I just need to put that person's role, which is already selected as author, and I'm going to leave that there. And no, they're not a student. And then perhaps I do have a student that's also working on this. We're just going to call them test student. And they're an author as well. And I'm going to say yes. And then now, the rest of these fields are not actually required. So, but I'm going to pretend like, I have a test journal. That's the name of my journal. Oops, if I could spell, huh? There we go. And I'm not going to fill out the rest of the fields just to save time, except project start date has to be filled out. That has a red asterisk, so it's required. We're going to say that I started this project in 2015, and that's actually all that I have to have filled out, because as I said, my test project here, I'm actually in the preliminary status. So I haven't really, even started writing my publication yet. I'm just in the planning stages. So I don't really know when I'm going to submit it at this point, so I probably wouldn't even have an expected date of submission. Definitely I'm not going to have a date submitted or accepted or published. So I'm just going to click Save and Return to save that project, and there it is. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what this project looks like from the test faculty's perspective. So I'm going to log off as myself and log back in so that I can show you what that looks like. Okay. Oh, shoot. Just a minute. I logged in with the wrong person. Log back in. Okay, so now I'm logged in as the test faculty, and I can go back and look at publications, and I can see this temporary one that I just entered on my end, and I can click the view button, and the test faculty member has the ability to view all of the information on that publication project, but they don't have the ability to edit any of that information. So if they did see any issues with the data or felt that something needed to be changed, they would need to contact me as the lead person for that project, and I'm the one that entered that information. Okay? That pretty much takes care of the publication screen. If you have any questions about entering a publication, please don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email, and I'll be happy to help you with it. Thanks for viewing this tutorial.